And welcome to the Tynee Talks podcast, the podcast that educates and entertains, the podcast where you come to laugh and learn. I am your host, Tynee, and today's episode is entitled Progress to Power, featuring author Nakia Lenoir-Paylor, who wrote the book Progress to Power, a guide of self-discovery. And welcome to the show, Nakia.
Thank you, Tanae. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. So, for the audience, this is Nakia Lenoir-Paylor, but to me, she's Kia. So I'm going to refer to you as Kia throughout the show.
I accept because I'm Coach Kia, so that works.
Coach Kia. So Kia is my god sister, but she's more than just a god sister. She is an author of this book that we're going to get into today, the Progress to Power book, a self-discovery guide. She is also a mother and a Gigi, an educator, a content creator. But most importantly, we're going to focus on her hat today of an author.
Absolutely.
You are so many things. You have a background in criminal justice.
Yes,
You have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. You have a master's degree. You're educated. You're multifaceted, multi-talented. And with all those gifts, you decided to put on your author hat.
Absolutely.
So what led to Progress to Power?
Well, it was not the actual book that I thought I would write, but it was the book that was inspired by God to write. In the space that we are in today, I think we need to get back to our identity, which is kind of stolen in our childhood, and this guide will help you do just that. It will help you align your inner systems so that you can just move in your power. And I think once you tap into that power that you possess, it's just very motivational and intentional for yourself. So we needed that in the space that we're in today in our culture and in our world.
I love that. So let's go back a little bit.
All right.
What is the book that you thought you were going to write?
Well, as most authors, at first you want to write your life story, you want to tell all the things. And that's kind of the way that I was going to go because I believe that my life is a
You have a fascinating story.
So yeah,
Truly.
I believe that it's gonna sell some books as well, but
Yeah.
that was not the book that God said right.
First.
Absolutely.
You didn't want that to be the first
No.
out the gate book.
No.
Okay.
This is actually a book for everybody and for the people. It was literally a selfless endeavor. Just to help the world, to help anybody that get their hands on it, I believe it's going to bless them. So that was the intention behind the book, to really help you get back to your identity, to help you get back to aligning your inner systems, your thoughts, and then measurable action steps every day. So it's like a real unique tool.
Yeah.
It's not a journal per se, but it's literally it's a guide to really help you rediscover who you are and what you need to do to move forward in your power. So once you tap into that, it's like once you know, you always know. You can't go back to not knowing. And so that kind of motivates you and give you that power to just move forward in your progress.
Okay. So you touched on something very important, going back to our childhood, or your childhood. So can you give us a little snippet of what it was like when you were growing up as a child? How was little Kia?
Oh, wow. Well, I always credit myself or credit being able to see a lot of transitions happen from technology to the world we live in today. We kind of the generation that got to see a lot of transition in a very vast amount of time. It happened very quickly.
fast.
So you go from seeing or learning computers to having to put in each line of a star to being able to just click on a star now. So that's kind of, what we were able to see in my generation.
But how were you as a
So
child?
me as a child was fun, energetic. We went outside, we had fun, we did all of those things. But when you look back and you look at how your childhood affect how you deal with relationships as an adult, you kind of need to go back and look at some of the not so good parts of your childhood and start working on healing and facing those issues.
So you talk about in the guide, on when you first open it up, it talks about voids and wounds.
Absolutely.
What's one, twofold, what's one void that you feel that roots back to childhood? And what's one wound that you feel like goes back to childhood that you have since healed to help you be the shining star that you are
Well, I
now?
am so glad that you asked that because doing the work on myself, one of my voids is being growing up without a father. So I am a lady who grew up, without that male interaction, that male love to show you how to pick and choose and vet. And so looking back at that, that would be one of my wounds or one of my voids is not having that male love and that male interaction that every child needs. So fathers are also very important. Fathers are very important. So looking back at that, and then the wound from that that came from not having my father is that attachment wound, that abandonment wound. So having those wounds affect your decision making and your choices. And so I made some not good choices, growing up and just dealing with those wounds and those voids unknowingly. And then at some point knowing, but not really having the tools and the access to get out of that, to really change my thought processes. And so I always talk with my God sister that I wish that we had us, some of the voices to just reach back and tell us some of this knowledge and information. So that's what this guide is really for, is to help those that are younger than us, those that are our age that need to heal and look back at some of those wounds so that you will make better choices and decisions that will guide you into forward progress and power.
That's really great. So you're saying you want to be what you wish that you would have had at those early ages to kind of prevent some of those pitfalls.
Absolutely.
So for you and anybody, how might abandonment show up for a person who experienced abandonment as a child? How might it show up in their adult self? What are some things that they may do or hold on to that they should let go?
Um, Toxic relationships is one thing that you will definitely find yourself in, holding on to when you should be able to let go. Even relationships within your family dynamic, sometimes we think because they're blood related that we should, deal with some
Continue
of
the
their,
relationship.
their toxicity. And you have to be well enough to identify that they're toxic and strong enough to be able to remove yourself when those relationships do not serve you. So, that's one area. But what was the question?
What might it look? What might abandonment look like, and how might it show up?
Yes, also thank you for it'll show up also in like being a people pleaser because you have been abandoned. You want to always be able want to fit in,
So that they don't leave.
so that they don't leave you, or just being able to have that relationship, have that community. So sometimes we'll do things that we may not want to do because my friend group or the people I want to be engaged with is doing those things and they don't fit you. They don't fit your purpose. And if you don't know that due to some of your wounds and voids, you'll kind of have some not so pleasant experiences in life. So yeah.
And it's not too late. It doesn't matter the age you are to heal that.
Absolutely not. I think at any stage, any age, you, if you're willing to do the work on yourself, you will be able to discover a lot of things and be able to move in your power. I think, again, once you start to do the inner work, and that is the part that is difficult. So I think that's why a lot of people refrain from doing the work, because to actually hold a mirror up and look at some of your shortcomings is difficult. It's easy to see and look on the outside and look at other people's shortcomings, but it takes a very courageous and strong person to be able to look inward and then be able to change those things that need to be changed.
Why do you think it's so hard to look at yourself and be like, is it shame that makes you not want to face that mirror? Not you per se, but in general, people.
Absolutely. I believe that I'm a believer. So in that sense, I believe that the enemy uses shame to keep you embedded in your uncomfortability or in your
I get what you're saying. It's like the idea
like in that trauma, in that toxic environment. He uses that shame to keep you from not really recovering or even taking accountability,
or make you think like, if people know that about you, then the abandonment that you're already thinking in your head, they really gonna leave. But your tribe is your tribe. They're gonna love you
They
regardless.
They will.
That's
They
right.
will. So yeah, I think that that's part of it. Guilt is another part, and just also that identity piece. He takes that. He steals that at such a young age. And when you don't know who you are and the value that you hold, first to the Most High, because that's who I believe in, which is God, when you lose that identity of who He created you to be, you tend to get wrapped up in a lot of different things and then to take on a form of identity of who you think that you are. And that necessarily doesn't fit your purpose. And so I think that getting back to that kind of gives you a power and a feeling of uniqueness and ability, and then also self-discovery and accountability. So yeah.
I love that. So, do you pinpoint, was your first step to healing one of your wounds, which was the wound of abandonment? What was the first step did you feel that you took of healing, like, and you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, like, I'm walking towards a better version of myself?
My first step was literally my I ams, and really discovering the power of that. When God spoke, He said, "I am." You know,
Sure did.
and when you speak from that place, you speaking from your highest form of consciousness as well. And so your ears are a soul gate. And so word comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So when you speak these I ams in your ear gates, hear those, every molecule inside of your body start to align with
Come on,
that.
science.
So when you start to speak your I ams, your positive I ams, I am wonderful, I am wonderfully and fearfully made. You know, all the things.
I am
God,
great.
God,
I'm beautiful.
the one
I
thing,
am.
right? The one thing for me is I am loved by God.
That's
Because those abandonment wounds, again, seeking love and attention, you don't know that, you know, you're looking for this love in everyone else, but really in giving love to everyone else
The
to be
giving
able
part is
to
a
get
big
it
one.
back,
Uh-huh.
you know, because that's what you want. And then you're dispersing so much of yourself, not knowing that you need to bring some of that back in and do some self-love and love on yourself as God loves you. Because sometimes you're looking for love everywhere else and you're forgetting that God loves you first. And then walking in that and knowing that He loves you gives you like this, like, okay, you know, you're not really looking for love elsewhere, because you know
You
that you
feel it.
have the
It's
love
feel-
of
you're
God
filled up.
inside of you. And so being able to speak those I ams, I am beautiful, even on those days when you're not feeling so beautiful. Anytime that you're feeling bad, you can speak those I ams into you, and it begins to just change the whole inside
atmosphere.
and feeling of who you are on the inside. And what seems to be so bad is no longer looking as bad. So yeah.
I love
That's kind of where it started for me. And then from there, just the promises of God and knowing that I'm valuable, and some of the things that I was allowing and engaging in is just not what He has for me. And that's why I was experiencing some of the things I was experiencing. So
So
through
you are
that,
en route. You are en route to your purpose.
absolutely.
You are a progress. You are literally, when we say we're a work in progress,
Absolutely.
you are literally working through that progress
Absolutely.
to get to your purpose. And it really resonated with me when you talk about the love that we give when we act out of the abandonment, because we don't want the people to leave, and we give a big love.
Yeah.
It'd be gigantuous. I mean, because it's what we want, so we give that. And it's exuberant. So to reverse it and pour it back into you is great. And you talked about the I am. I literally yesterday had a moment where I told my husband, I was like, I'm, you know, you said I am, but I'm apostrophe I am. I said, I'm that girl. I'm her. And he said, baby, yes, you are. You've been that. But it was like a self-discovery for me.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and it's okay, because sometimes we feel like
Absolutely.
humble means that you cannot uplift your own self.
Yes.
But you can uplift yourself. It's not rooted in a place of arrogance. It's just rooted in a place of loving yourself and knowing that I am, as you said, ... whatever that is.
Yes.
So I love
And
that.
then having that at your fingertips, because it's a small guide, it's an easy read. You can store it in your backpack or on the side of your armrest or anywhere where most times we kind of like, go through our moments in the car. So just having it in your car when you're having that moment, pop open your IMs and just pick 5.
Yeah.
And you will see how your thought processes and how everything just began to change with just speaking those things into yourself. What's the word? Believe in yourself, speak to yourself, because the world will not encourage you most often. So,
Yeah, the world is a very tricky place,
It
and
is.
I tell this to a lot of the young girls I mentor. Um, and I use Clarissa Shields as an example. When she was the girl who didn't get her makeup done or her hair done and all that, people wanted to, you're so beautiful, you're
Yeah.
great. They're telling
Yeah.
you that at that stage,
Yeah.
right? So they pour into you. So then when you do become the girl who putting on the makeup, who doing the hair, and you say, oh, I am everything that y'all said I was, then it's like, who she thinks she is? That's the trick of the world. It's like
Right.
they'll big you up to a certain extent. When you're not confident, they tell you to be confident, and then when you're confident, they try to chop you down to size. So you really have to be rooted in knowing that regardless of what the world says, what do I say and what does God say? And He says that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made in the image of God. And we are God's children, so we beautiful and we lit. So that's why I don't. If we're talking about aesthetics, I don't try to say someone's ugly or anything like that, because they're beautiful to somebody. There's a cliche, your beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I mean, who's ever beholding you. So that whole thing. So that's right. But I like in your guide that you have action steps. It's like I'm giving you this journey, I'm giving you this guide, but I want to leave you with some tools to help you reach your power. So, in Progress to Power, you talk about identifying what your core values are. Why is that so important to lay that as a foundation for you to get to your power?
All right, because your core values is your perceptions and how you see, whether good or bad. You're gonna discover that. There's no right or wrong to that, but you need to identify which perception you see from, whether it's a I can, I can't, whether it's a positive perspective or even a negative perspective. You need to be able to identify that first so that you can be in tune with how you think and how you see, so that you can begin to make the necessary changes to align with the goals that you want to experience, and then be able to start developing your action steps to move you towards those goals.
With you being an educator, what working with the youth, I look at youth as a canvas. We're constantly drawn till we get to the final beautiful picture.
Yes.
What's something that you feel like the youth need as they're progressing to lead them to their power? What is missing, or what do they need to help them reach their power?
Overall, I would say, oh, that's deep.
Because you see it every day, and you
Yes.
can identify from a certain bird's eye view what they're lacking.
And I don't want to be. Well, I'm gonna come from two perspectives,
Okay.
because you have believers and then you have those who don't, and I don't want anyone to get missed out.
Okay.
So as a believer, I believe that God is the
Missing.
way.
Okay.
God is really missing from our children, our young people. It's that moral compass. It's that right or wrong. It is that fear, fear of what happens after this life, what I put into this life. So I think that's a motivating factor, and I think that is somewhat lacking. And then on the other spectrum, it's just knowledge. Just knowledge, and not the junk that's out there. So much junk and mess that true knowledge is kind of put on the back burner. Even our culture or our society, we love negative things. Negative news travel fast. It goes viral. But things that are helpful tend to go slowly, even though they are most impactful once they are used and experienced. So I think that's just pure knowledge and letting kids know, because when you become relatable to young people, you got them.
You do.
And it's just that simple. Once you become relatable and they know, hey, you see me as this authority figure, but I have struggles too, and you become relatable on their level, you got them. Yeah. And you can do so much once you set that rapport. You can start to change lives, because we're going to be the old people, and we need good young people to assist us in our old age. And so that's kind of what motivates me to just keep giving back. Whether it's, young man, pull up your pants, you're a king. Do you know you come from royalty? Do you understand who you are? You know you represent us all. Or even it's a young lady, watch your mouth, you don't have to be so foul. Or cover yourself up, you don't have to expose so much. It's just being able to speak into their lives. Pour a little bit.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
I think that's great. I do have one pushback of, I don't think our culture loves negativity. I think it's pumped so much.
I agree.
That it's just easier to latch on to, because the powers that be, the billion-dollar industry, is pushing that.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So before we close out, what are 3 key takeaways that you would want the viewers to take away from Progress to Power?
Three takeaways would be, first, get the book.
First and foremost.
First and foremost, grab the guide. It is going to assist you and get you going. I know everyone's pushing therapy and help. This book is for those who wants to start in the privacy of your own home. You can get started right in your own home, so that when you get the courage up and the funds up enough to go to a therapist, you got a guide to say, hey, this is where I've started from. Also, for the hood, I know we lack things, and I'm Reformed Hood, and I'm proud of it.
What you call it?
I am Reformed Hood. Thank you, April Mason, for that title. I am Reformed Hood. I'm still a queen, but we still have that residue, and I'm always representing where I come from, and always trying to reach back. So this is my way of reaching back at a small price of $19.95. But it is literally a guide to get you started. It's a guide if you are stuck. It's a guide if you are doing well and you just got goals. We are always progressing forward and growing forward. So no matter what area of life you're in, that guide is going to assist you. So that part, and then the action steps, I think, is what really is the caveat of the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have all these things that's telling you all this information, but what is information? What is knowledge if we're not using it? So you have to put the knowledge to work. Otherwise, it's just wasted knowledge. So that will be the part that I really enjoy most of the book. It's a 21-day, because on purpose, because it takes 21 days to change a habit or to
develop one.
And develop a new habit and a new thought process. So it's 21 days of action steps to where you be intentional for yourself through your gratitude and thankfulness, and then being mindful of the words that you're going to speak to your day, and knowing the things that will help you or impede you from doing your best, so that you will be mindful of that. Because I'm going to tell you, when I don't do my action steps, my day is totally thrown off. And then when I do go through my action steps and through my steps, the words that I put down that I'm going to say to myself resonate in my spirit all day. Even the things, what is the things, I think it's something in there that asks you, what is the areas that hinder you from your day? And mine is procrastination. So one of my goals is not to let the day procrastinate away. And when I'm sitting there procrastinating, that thing come back, and I'm like, let me get up and move. Because you're literally being intentional for yourself each day. And then the best part is measurable at the end. So I say pick five things, or 5 small action steps, because every little step is a step towards your progress. Absolutely, towards your power. So measure your day. 5 stars. 5 stars, you accomplished everything. 4 stars, I might have missed one. And then you can kind of see your progress.
We love a good rate.
Absolutely, and you're literally rating yourself. So that is in there. Like, all of this stuff is in there. And then there is some note pages for you to jot down if you find out any things that you want to remember about yourself or other podcasts or whatnot,
I want
because
to.
Tynee be educating here, and so you can jot down things and notes that you find, and everything is right here.
Yeah.
I carry it with me
I
everywhere.
want to go back to the rating yourself. And that's so important because we're on these apps all day. And if you notice, like if you're on an app, even if you're on TikTok, it'll say rate your experience, give us a review. Whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it'll ask you. Even if you go to a website to buy clothes, they'll be like, rate your experience.
Yeah.
So it's good. Rate your experience for the day for yourself. Were you a 5-star today?
Yeah.
Were you a 1-star? And that rate is what? That rating is collecting data.
Yes.
And data is collected so that we can what? Improve processes, systems, so that we can progress to our power. Baby.
Absolutely. Yes, that part. It's absolutely intentional. And I'm going to say this, even if you only 1 star, that is still one action step towards your goal.
That's right.
So it is all like working towards your power, yeah.
And I love in your action steps, you say, what's my day goal?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people get overwhelmed.
Yes.
If it's a 30-day or a 3-month or a 6-month, it's like, because looking that far may give them anxiety or like I have a friend who suffers from the procrastination spirit as well, and she was explaining to me because she was trying to get me to understand how procrastination works, because I don't. So she was trying to get me to understand how it cripples you, to give you anxiety of the task. And so I think shortening it to a day by day, little by little, to help you get to the power so that you can build yourself up to maybe have a 6-month goal with a day by day. I think this is great. So to the talkers out there, make sure that you go and get this book. So Kia, I want to thank you for coming and being a guest on the show. Can you tell the guests how to follow you on socials and where they can purchase the book?
Okay, you can purchase the book on Amazon and Kindle as well, but I prefer you get the Amazon one so that you can keep it with you and write in it and be intentional, but whatever fits your wallet, go ahead and get that. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I am Kia P, all together. I do also have a YouTube channel, Hello to the Creators. Hopefully we'll be seeing this episode and we'll be sharing with the talkers. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. And just get the book, guys. Get the book. And also, if you need coaching, I am available for that as well. You can reach me on my YouTube channel. That's really the base of where I do all things me. So yeah, you can reach me there. And again, that's Keeping Up with Kia P at YouTube. I am Kia P, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, like, subscribe, join, follow, and buy. Buy the book.
I also want to say that I'm extremely proud of you, from being a little girl to me being a little girl and watching I literally witnessed your progression. I saw it for myself. And it's so beautiful that you're still standing.
Thank you.
And these people couldn't even fathom this beautiful being that sits before us, what you've experienced, and then you still have progressed to such a beautiful power.
Well, thank you. So, I am inspired by you guys. Like, I am inspired by my sisters and just my friends and my tribe at large. Like, you guys rock. Y'all keep me motivated. Y'all keep me going. And wherever I can be a light and shine, I'm willing to shine. And thank you for shining your light with me and sharing it with me today.
And I do want the talkers to know, whatever stage you happen to be in, you always looked good.
Oh, thank you.
Hair and nails is always laid. They would have never known.
Thank you. Thank you. It's God. He preserves. God preserves, like for real, he does. So, yeah.
Kia, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on today's podcast episode. Your story will inspire millions. And once they get their hands on this, so that they too can progress to their own power within themselves. So I want to thank you. Talkers, I want to thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Tynee Talks podcast. And I hope that this episode's helped you to progress to your power. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Tynee Talks podcast, and follow me on all social media at Tynee Talks podcast and at Tynee Talks. Until next time, remember, Tynee Talks,
I'ma make it real clear. It's Tynee Talks right here. We gon' talk about it right here. I'ma talk about everything you like. I'ma make it real clear, cause it's Tynee Talks. And I'ma talk about it. Yeah, cause it's Tynee Talks. And I'ma talk about